your math notebooks? Thank you, my dear. All right. Are we ready? Math notebooks out. Smiles. Hi, friend. iPad should be set to the side. Math notebooks are out. We're ready to go. Huh? Here we go. I think. There we go. I can solve a two-step problem, word problems involving multiples of 10. 2 steps. 2 steps. So we're looking for 2. It's not a one and done. Don't just find an answer. Make sure it's the answer that they're looking for. So this was a struggle during the exit ticket. Friends in the back row, do me a favor. Grab your notebooks and a pencil, clipboard if you'd like, and come up here.
Yay! So we get to get hokies.
No, you may not bring your hokies. I want you up here.
Do I have to?
Nope, I want you up here. Because you're off task back there. Many of you are. Well,
Yeah, that's why I got it.
it's an all or nothing. So come on up. It's harder to pay attention when you're that far away. Chloe, do we still have a clear shot?
Yeah.
All right. This was part that was struggling. There was a struggle for some of us today in the exit ticket. So I want to go over it a little bit, okay? Because we have to walk through it slowly enough and to understand what's going on. I was seeing, I would say about a quarter of you brought up exit tickets to me that when the lines were there and you had to fill in and go down and solve the proof. So start at the top and work your way down. I had friends who were doing things that I felt were clear and they must not be because we weren't doing them correctly. So if you see this and then the answer, I had friends just take one of these two numbers and move it down and tell me that the answer was 40. But that's not what we're doing. Remember, one of the steps in the top line is to add those parentheses, right? So we broke 40 into 4 times 10. Are they the same thing? 40 equals 4 times 10, right? That's what we did, and that's what they did for you in the problem. We have to add parentheses to get this 10 all by itself, because we want to keep the 10 all by itself right here. So I'm going to include the parentheses in that line. So in my head, now I know I solved my parentheses first, and that answer is going to live here on this line. So who can solve the parenthesis math problem for me?
So here I think that 10%.
That's okay. Veronica? No, just let me know.
Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8.
2 times 4 is 8. So each step, I'm solving one part of the equation. I'm solving it step by step. First thing I do is my parentheses. So Veronica solved 2 times 4, and the answer is 8. So this leaves me with 8 times 10. Who can solve the 8 times 10? Molly's unsure, but I think she's got it. Molly, what would 8 times 10 be? 80, yeah. So the answer would be 80. And I know this because I took one step at a time. That's right, you were just in time. We just started. Okay. So I put my parentheses here so that I leave that 10 isolated all by itself. Because I know that I can multiply by 10. So 20 times 40 is 8 times 10. 20 times 40 equals 80. So I'm solving it just step by step. First step comes in the problem, where they break it apart into something times 10. We're practicing working with 10, so we want to find a 10. They took the 30, oops, I'm still on eraser. They took the 30 and turned it into what? Ashley? What math problem did they turn 30 into? No, they didn't turn the 30 into 3 times 3 times 10. Which part is the 30? Laura? Just the 3 times 10, right? Did you guys see that? We broke apart this one into 3 times 10. This is the same as this. These have to stay the same, right? This is telling me, with this equal sign right here in the middle, that 3 times 30 is the same as 3 times 3 times 10. Because 3 times 10 is what?
30.
So here's my 30, and here's my 3. All of the parts that are over here are now living on the other side. We just broke them apart into something that was easier to work with. You see that? That feeling a little bit clearer? Okay. Nice.
Because they broke the 30.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. I'm glad you get it. But let's help our friends understand it instead of just telling them that you get it. Because I'm glad you do. But we're going to help those that don't, okay? So we're taking, let me erase this. Okay. All right, Ashley. I have 3 groups. Here, let me show you the piece. Where's the next? All right. All right. Here are 3 groups of 30, right? 30 here, 30 here, 30 here. So what we're saying is that 3 times 30 is what we're trying to figure out. I don't want to deal with 30, I want to deal with the 10. So I have now got, I'm going to break it into 10 times 3. Do you see it? 10 times 3. It's on the floor, I know that. Can you guys kind of see?
No.
I took my 30 and I split it into 3 groups of 10. 3 times 10. All right? I'm going to do that with all 3. So I now have 3 times 10, right? 1, 10, 20, 30. And I have 1 group of them, 2 groups of them, 3 groups of them. So instead of having 3 groups of 30, I now have 3 groups of 3 times 10. Did I add any bars?
No.
I didn't. It's going to be the same. And what it let me do is it gave me that 10. I like working with 10s. They're handy.
They're easy.
Okay. Does that a little clearer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. So now that I have a 10, I'm going to go Gesundheit.
That was Hunter. Wait, was it you?
Doesn't matter. Gesundheit to whoever it was. My next step is going to be to move that parentheses. Instead of making it a 30 again, I don't want to make it a 30 again. That was tough. I'm going to slide my parentheses over, right? I want to leave that 10 all by itself because I know I can multiply by 10. What's 3 times 3? Trey?
9. And it's
9.
a square number.
9 is a square number. 3 by 3. You're right. So I just turned 3 times 30 into 9 times 10. And I did that because I split apart 30 into a multiplication problem. And then I moved my parentheses. That's the associative property. I can multiply those numbers in any order and get the same product.
Yep.
So 3 times 30 will equal 90. Let's try one more. Ashley, do you see that we kept the 2 the same on each side? The 2 is still there, right? 2 times something. We just took 50 and we broke it down into a tens fact. What's a tens fact that equals 50? 10 times 5. So 50 and 10 times 5, or 5 times 10 in this case, is the same thing, yes? Okay. So on each side of the equation, they're the same. They can be together because this is going to equal this. 2 times 50 then, if I slide my parentheses here, 2 times 5 times 10. 2 times 50 is going to equal the product of 2 times 10, which is 10, times the 10. Chloe.
When you're doing like how the times 10 is like that, if you're doing the middle part, if you just put a 0 on that, that's the answer.
Yeah, anything times 10, right? You just have to add a 0 placeholder to the one spot. So 20 times 50 equals 100. Does it?
Yeah.
If I had 50 cents and Taylor had 50 cents, how many cents would we have together?
100.
100 or $1, right?
Yes.
Each day, Andrea does 25 squats to warm up for gymnastics and 15 squats to cool down after practice. How many squats does she do in all when she practices 5 days a week? This would be good for Gianna. First things first. Would we do 25 times 15? Does that make sense? Let's read it one more time. Remember, 2 steps. Remember what we were working on in reading, about reading it multiple times, circling keywords, really understanding the question, okay? Each day, Andrea does 25 squats to warm up for gymnastics and 15 squats to cool down after practice each day. So how many days is that? This is for one day. How do I find out how many squats she does total in a day? Oh,
40.
how did you find that?
2 plus 1 equals 3, and then 5 plus 5 equals 10.
Okay, so 20 plus 10 is 30, and then the 2 5s make another 10. We're at 40. He added up what she does before practice and what she does after practice. So that is 40. Now, how many squats does she do in all when she practices 5 days a week?
So 40
So what-
times 5.
What the next step would be is 40
Finish.
times 5. Who would like to practice breaking this apart into that 10 fact? Trey. Yeah, why are you so excited? Oh, because you didn't put it to it. Yeah, what are we going to break apart into 10? The 40. So what times 10 equals 40? Let's start with 10 times blank. You need to make it to 40. Yeah, 10 times 4 equals 40. That takes care of this guy. What do we still have left over?
5.
We have to bring down the times 5, right? Times 5. Trey, where would you put the parentheses? Right, I don't want to make 40 again, right? I broke them apart for a reason. So I'm going to